Hey guys. Okay, so it's been a while since I've done any kind of behind the scenes update, and updates are hard to come by because, well, basically, we want to put stuff out there that our community members are interested in as to the ongoing development of Urban Terror 5. Urban Terror is a long time modification to IdTech 3 as an extension to Quake 3. So IdTech 3? Yeah, IdTech 3 as an extension of Quake 3. Let's get that right. And anybody who has ever played it and realizes some of the fun stuff that can be done as far as individual involvement goes. And as I kind of hinted at here at the moment, what has inspired this video is a question as to the possibility of adding fun stuff to Urban Terror 5 under the Unreal 4, soon to be hopefully in the near future Unreal 5, which is rather impressive as to the numbers of advanced features that it's going to be represented there. And but to keep on track here, to begin with, this is not what's going to happen. It's not necessarily going to translate into reality, but it is based on more on the concept that let's say you go out and you buy a pickup truck and it has a trailer hitch. You know, your mind as the owner of that vehicle starts to wander towards things like, well, I can get a boat, I can get a trailer, I can get a mobile home, or all these different ideas that can be hooked up to that one little hitch. And this is the thing that Unreal 4 provides as part of the logic, because basically it's something that's just there that offers the ability to do that much easier than we would have been able to do this kind of stuff as to IdTech 3 based game modification. You know, it's trying to shoehorn a feature into the game that starts to get a little bit bloated and as to features enhancements that the engine was never designed to do in the first place. So I guess you could say that Urban Terror on IdTech 3 / 4.3, which I believe is the current version, far exceeds the engine limitations that requires a lot of workarounds and grief. As soon as you update and implement one feature, it tends to break another because it's difficult to take into account what happens downstream during typical gameplay. It's like trying to pound down a bump in the carpet, and in the moment you pound it down, something pops up somewhere else. So as a content creator, it's a real nightmare to have to work with those type of conditions. Unreal 4 is a breath of fresh air, and with the features coming in 5, it's only going to be more inspirational as to let's say impulse game development, directed more towards our player base who would like to have a little bit more involvement in the game from a meta standpoint, and one of those meta standpoints has been the development of fun stuff. Now, if you're just kind of wandering in here, fun stuff is stuff like things that can be built by the player base that can be attached to the player, such as let's say a baseball hat, a pair of wings, a mask, any weird, unusual type of configuration to, at least in part, make for a unique character. Now, as part of our overall development course direction, we are focusing on paralleling the playability of the IdTech 3 4.3 version of Urban Terror as to a basic understanding as to what's required, but there's always the dreamer, right? What does the future hold as far as possibilities goes? Going back to the trailer hitch analogy, and of course, fun stuff being a component of that version of the game. It is, of course, a desirable feature which we would like to add at some point in the in the future. Obviously, once we start developing a much more fuller development team, I think we're running with about 24 at the moment. Each person, I consider them heavy lifters. They're doing the job necessary to get to that 4.3 compatibility. This also includes animation, but in the future, of course, it will be improved as we figure out how things should work, and then we'll do a forked project of improving the overall quality of the animations to bring them up to AAA standards. So as long as what we have now mirrors 4.3, we're on safe ground, and we're heading in the right direction. To kind of anticipate that direction change or additions, it makes a lot of sense to create the possibility in the source chain. In other words, the mantra is fix it in the asset if and all possible. So thinking ahead, instead of following the logic of making what needs to work today, far critical thinking is, well, what can we do tomorrow? Not necessarily meaning that it will happen. We just have the ability to do it built into the system design, similar to the trailer hitch idea. It's there. We have the ability to make use of it or not. So as the forewarning up ahead of time here, just be aware that I'm talking more about concepts of what we as a team are aware of as to possibilities, as to the question, will Funstuff be included in future versions of Urban Terror 5? And the answer is, yeah, it's a possibility, and it's a desirability, and it's something to focus on once the foundation is in place, and we can start focusing on much more, let's say, player unique features and functions. As an example here, I'm showing DAS Studio in an effort to kind of give our group of rebels, our community members who are interested in this kind of stuff, a quick start as to the tools that we are using as part of our pipeline. Now, there's a fair amount of work that still needs to be done, but each and every time a new version of a piece of software comes out and features are updated, we look at that and say, hey, instead of building it, we'll just use this because it works. It works as to what we want to do. It might not be ideal as to what we want things to work, but as a framework, we have opted to make use of the Genesis 3 model, which is what you see in front of you, dressed up to prevent on-screen nudity, of course, as to, well, let's say a death match character. The limitation of IdTech 3 type technology is it was very difficult just to add unique assets like individually custom-made player models that have your face on it, and it talks, it dances, it acts, it has all these abilities built into that framework. We can apply morph targets, all this stuff ahead of time is with this particular application that fits our needs is already presented. It's there. And Unreal 4 has the ability to take advantage of those features, and all that's required is some wiring or perhaps a custom-built animation blueprint. The very modular nature of Unreal 4 allows for inspired creation, so to say. Before, all the animations were kind of locked in behind a code wall, so it made it very difficult to do some really cool stuff. Even as just an individual. So this is the kind of thing we would like to see happen in the future, is perhaps, maybe, after consideration, thought, and is required, the due process has to be implemented, of course, as to being able to take whatever you see in front of you and move it over into the game called Urban Terror, and hopefully make use of it without any fiddle-faddle of anything having to be done at the core level. So we're doing all the animations that are required, and everything that will hook up anything to our framework, which is what we're doing now as far as our player models go. There's still some slight workarounds and what have you. It doesn't work at the moment of being able to directly pull in a real-time running game, but there are, once again, looking at available features, there's some sort of asset management system that we are aware of, but yet to get around to seeing how it works and how it can be implemented into our design as to being able to do stuff like this. Now, currently, another reason why I'm kind of presenting these as ideas right now, as the old process of being able to pull or harvest from that studio, we as a company do have an Indian license that covers anything as based on Dad's original assets. So that would obviously include Genesis. That would include any kind of art asset that studio might come out with, and et cetera, et cetera. You can animate in this program. Just a bit of a heads up, as a comparison to, say, iClone, that has character creation programs. One of the main issues that we avoid by using that studio is, first of all, its use is free. It's free for everybody to use on the team. It's free to use for anybody in our community, and there's the only inherited cost is anything that you buy, and you don't have to buy. You can obviously get it from the Creative Commons that are available, say through Renderosity, as you can go there and look for some free hair or free costuming, or you can make your own. Let me kind of drift off track here a bit. If you are a DAZ Studio pro, like the stuff inside out, we would be certainly interested in seeing you apply as a developer on our team, as we are kind of interested in the idea of being able to put our stuff into this environment so we can take advantage of the framework that's within this environment to edit and custom build in a much more easier to manage environment. Just be aware, we're for the love of the team, so the best you can hope for is Hot Pockets and Think Geek t-shirts. So if you want to have some fun, we are certainly interested in individuals that have unique skills that fall perhaps outside the box of normal, everyday, boring games development, and work within an environment with some really intense people, serious developers doing serious things besides playing with dead things. So we would love to hear from you as to this concern. Now, that being said, at the current state of this tool as a pipeline, we as a development team obviously developed processes and solutions to get around to any type of obstacles that were in the way. And when Unreal 4 first came out, there were some serious issues as to maintaining fidelity of assets. Textures would come in and it looked all waxy and weirdish and what have you. A hair was terrible. It looked matty, and you would run in from one area into the other, and all of a sudden your hair would start glowing, and so it was once again it didn't create so much of an obstacle for us, because we had a particular requirement that we knew how we could work around that as a problem. It would fix all the spikiness that was going on and what have you. Over the course of time, the ability of the character export improved as to maintain the fidelity. This is probably the most important aspect of any application, and its ability to be used with Unreal 4 is, can it maintain a fidelity without any additional work? And at its current state, it does a very good job in this area, at least to the point of being able to create something that is usable just by more or less exporting directly from Data Studio and then importing it into Unreal 4, soon to be Unreal 5, which is there's a whole bunch of beautiful things there. Now to kind of go to the final importance, and then we'll kind of talk about things in general. Recently, bridging technology has come to the forefront of the development of games development, because bridging allows you to enhance the tool set availability in Unreal 4. So you might have, some rudimentary basic animation systems and auto rigging and this and so forth, and that in Unreal 4 that solves the problem of giving access to these types of features without necessarily the person that is trying to finagle something inside Unreal 4 having to go out to outsourced or outside Unreal 4 in closed edited environment to be able to process something to bring it back in again. Being able to create animation in Unreal 4 is slowly becoming a reality through the auto rig. Now, being someone who uses Motion Builder, I understand the relevance of what an auto rig can do. So if you use Motion Builder, you know what the auto rig will in Unreal will ultimately do for you as far as being able to make use of any kind of animation stream that you wish. It's not there just to be able to create animations inside a world creation application. It's there because you'd be able to, like in Motion Builder, to be able to channel in Epic's base animation onto any character that you want by just retargeting to the auto rig. So that's a very it's a feature that I'm looking forward to, because it will resolve the problem for most people who purchase, say, for example, Epic-based animations and use them on your rig without having to go through that stupid retargeting system setup they have. I shouldn't say that, because if you know how to use it, it works for you. But the Motion Builder does all the retargeting for you. That's what it does. It retargets animation. That's its whole purpose of so existence. So if we're comparing one application to the other, some people say, okay, what about iClone compared to Data Studio? Well, Data Studio is really the only thing that I can comment on with my limited experience, as into being able to get what I want out of it, as compared to the brilliance that some people have to be able to actually create the character all from within the application by working at what would be considered the meta level. In other words, you're pounding your design at its core root. iClone, I really can't comment too much on, because I don't have a lot of experience with it, except to say that they promote themselves as more of an animation solution with the ability, of course, to create different characters within their environment. So, but for a love of the game indie development team like Frozen Sand, free is obviously desirable. And Data Studio covers every aspect that we need. So I don't want to get too long in this. I'm hoping to keep it down to a reasonable time. But this is more of a heads up to urban terrorists community. Okay, Mr. NSA, no, we're not really terrorists. We just have the name of a terrorist group or organization. So this is more of a heads up that this is the base that we are working with. And so this is to kind of motivate content, art development, which doesn't require any kind of technical requirements as to building the core assets for this character. So, I want to make a baseball cap that works with this character and import it into Data Studio, so I can fit it on and transfer all the morph targets and JCMs and all this good stuff over to my character. Use my Send to. Hopefully, in the future, you'll be able to parse that model directly into the game, which we are at some point will reconfigure the the naming convention. The only difference between our character models and the character that is exported to Unreal 4 is that the root of the character is changed. In this case, it's Genesis 3 female. You can see up at the corner the labeling for this root node to no, well, root. So all we would have to do in this case is when we're updating our system, hopefully in Unreal 5, we will be able to just go directly from here to over there. Now, heads up again, the bridge works. It works great. It works extremely well for our needs. We have limited requirements, but there are still some issues as to fidelity, meaning that it doesn't import correctly, but it's just simply a matter of making whatever goes over there look like what it looks like inside of here to create a continuity of content as to expectations. And it does a very good job of, as to, let's say, of importing the base, which would be acceptable in most games. It's a usable result. Let's put it that way, including the hair or anything that's attached to it. Where there's still some work to be done, though, is things in, say, for example, subsurface scattering, being able to use advanced DAZ Studio-based materials. Say, for example, at this moment, I'm using iRay materials, and I'm using the iRay rendering. So here we go. So you can see the mesh density. Did I break it? No. So iRay takes some time to re-render. We'll just let it go in the background. So just consider this. First of all, if you're interested in doing fun stuff to begin with the desire to do your own custom player model for deathmatching. You want to basically join the team and start making the stuff. This is the resource of where everything. Why is it not rebuilding? iRay. This is the resource. I broke it. Nope, there we go. This is the resource that we are using to create all our player models. It's not necessarily a requirement. And then making use of the Send2 bridge that has recently been introduced to be able to build stuff that fits that framework. That's not to say you're locked into this. This is the one thing that was also desirable, is that we're not locked into this pathway. You can certainly build your own player models in whatever application you have access to. It's just that DAZ Studio makes this process so much easier, as well as provides the ability of a single point of where our character models are. So if you want our player model, you can get DAZ Studio. Genesis 3 is what we use. Genesis 8, that's a possible thing for the future, but we need to audit first because of the way the bridge works allows the interchangeability between Genesis 3 and Genesis 8. So using one or the other. At the moment, I'm under the assumption, based on some rudimentary testing, that a lot of the structure of the framework requirements remain intact between the two of them. So animations that are in Unreal 4 that is made for Genesis 3 should be able to target the Genesis 8 too as well. So this is, let's say, a lot more information as to doing this kind of stuff is on the horizon. I just want to put this out here that as a jump start to those that want to get ahead of the curve, the learning curve. See, that's the nature of content creation, is you go, well, I'm going to wait till some application comes out that gives me the ability to model a character model when really that art should never wait for implementation of something that needs to be hardwired in the engine. Okay, enough of that for now. I hope I've at least made this interesting. I just wanted to throw on the microphone and do something in the flash, and once something a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, say, constructive comes along, I'll fill you in as to the details. But I think it's safe now that if you want to start making Blender fun stuff, bringing them in and fitting them to the Genesis 3 model and making them work within this edit environment, then you're on safe ground as to the possibility that your work could be used in Urban Terror 5 at a later date. Okay, enough of this for now. See you guys. Bye.